welcome to French Fried Trains. Since I don't have time to do a full tutorial video today we're going to be doing another railroad showcase where we look at all of the things I've built from a particular railroad. Today we're going to be doing Amtrak. And since these are all ones we've already built, there is a tutorial up on my channel for every single thing you're going to see in this video. So if you see something you like and want to know how to build it, scroll back on my channel, because like I said, there are tutorials for everything here. So first up is the very first Amtrak train I ever built, which is headed up by this classic F40PH in the phase 3 colors here. So this is what it looks like here. And this was a very early build. They will get better as we go on. And it's pulling a random train full of Surfliners here. And these were the first Surfliners I ever tried. They are very outdated. I did a more updated build of these later. But as you can see through the windows, all of these builds have full interiors here. So there's a bunch of sleeper cars. This one's an observation car here. And it has 2 levels, of course. And there's more sleeper cars here. And this wasn't based on any particular Amtrak train. I was just building a bunch of random Amtrak equipment together here. Then behind it, we have my first attempt at Amtrak Amfleets here. And much like the Surfliners in front of them, these are very old, outdated builds. I did updated builds on these later, which we'll see later in the video here. Then behind that, we have a baggage car here. Then at the other end of the train, we have a P32-8 in the classic 90s so-called Pepsi can paint scheme. Now this was the very first Dash 8 I ever built, and it's way too squished and short. I made updated builds later on for Dash 8s. That's that first train, and we'll move on. Next up here, we have the Amtrak Piedmont train, which is a train in North Carolina. And it's led by this specially painted F59 PHI locomotive with the full width streamlined cowl body. And then it has its own type of cars here. And there's a bunch of these cars on it. And then this very back car is the snack and lounge car. Then at this end, we have the older standard body F59PH here. And we'll go quick turnaround on that one here. So that's the Amtrak Piedmont, and we'll move on. Now we come to the Amtrak train I did later and updated everything. This one is led by a GE Genesis P42 DC locomotive here. And we'll come around this so you can see all the details on top of the locomotive here. Then behind it we have a baggage car and my more updated Amfleet car builds. These ones are a little bit better than the last ones we showed. We have a bunch of coaches up here. And then this last one is actually a dining car. And we're going to take a look inside it because there's a lot of stuff in here. So this side is the dining area with all the tables. And then around here, we have the actual kitchen built into the car here. So there's cupboards, sinks, refrigerators, stoves, fryers. A lot of stuff crammed in this 3-block wide space. And we'll move on. Behind it, we have my more updated Surfliner builds here, which have a bit more detailed and a bit more correct proportions. There we just seen an observation car. A lot of these are sleeper cars with individual bedrooms inside. And then this one is also a Surfliner dining car with 2 floors, so we'll take a look inside this one. You can see fryers and refrigerators and stoves. There's a little restroom for the kitchen staff. There's sinks over here, food storage, freezers. And this has a 2nd floor. So you come up these twisting stairs here, just like on the real thing. And up here is the dining area where everyone comes to eat their food here. And that's the back of that train. So we'll move on. And now we come to our first specialty unit, one of Amtrak's veterans locomotives. And this is another GE Genesis P42 DC locomotive here. Lots of bright colors on this one. So that's that one. Then up here, we have another GE Genesis, this time one of the heritage units in the Phase 1 paint scheme, or the so-called Bloody Nose paint scheme here. Trying to get some good views of it here. And we'll move on. Next up, we have our first Siemens SC44 Charger here, and this is leading the Amtrak Cascades train. And these Chargers is one of my signature builds here, especially when you account all the different compartments inside. This is one of my most detailed builds. Behind it we have this aerodynamic car that transitions down, and we have lots of specialty cars on this train. This train uses its own type of car set, which share a single-wheel truck between the cars. Like I said, this train has a lot of cars on it. Then, at the very back here, we have the Talgo cab car, which is very unique looking. So here's some of the details up top for the Talgo cab car. So that's the Cascades here. And then we'll move on. Then right over here, we have another GE Genesis locomotive. This one is one of the special Amtrak 50th anniversary units. And it's probably my favorite paint scheme for this locomotive type. So here's Amtrak 108, and we'll take a look at the other side real quick. And then we'll move forward. Right up here is another Genesis locomotive. This one in that classic Phase 3 paint scheme that these locomotives debuted in the 1990s. You can see it actually says Amtrak on this one. So that's that one, and we'll move on. Then right over here, we have the Amtrak Surfliner train in its own paint, and this one's led by an F59 PHI here. And here's the other side of it. Then the Surfliner uses its own color variant here on the Surfliner cars. So we have the double-decker Surfliner cars just painted up in this particular paint scheme. So be warned, I probably won't do any tutorials for Surfliners ever again, given that I've done them 3 different times now. Then at the other end of this train, we have another Siemens Charger locomotive, and these ones for the Surfliner are unique in that they have that aerodynamic hump at the back of them. And we'll do a quick pan around on this one and move on. Over here, we have yet another Genesis locomotive. And if you look at the trucks, they're a little different. This is a P32 ACDM that can run on its own diesel generator or from electricity supplied by a third rail pickup. And this one is in a phase 3 paint scheme here. So that's that one. And then we'll skip forward up here. Next, we have one of the new Amtrak long distance Siemens chargers here. And this is in a variation of the new phase 7 paint scheme. This one is like a transition to the phase 7 paint scheme, while the later phase 7s are going to be slightly different from this. We will see one of those later here. Then, as we jump forward up here, we have our first Amtrak electric locomotive, and we have this ACS 64. And this is what it looks like. And as you can see, these electric ones have a cab on both ends here. So that's the ACS 64, and we'll move on. Next up, we have another electric train here, and we have the Amtrak Acela Express, America's fastest train from the Northeast Corridor. We'll go look at the other side. It's pretty much the same on both sides. And the Acela has its own special type of passenger cars. So there's a bunch of these on here. And then another power unit at the other end here. Then, since I didn't build it on any of the full trains, this one gets to be all alone by itself here. And we have an Amtrak Viewliner car. And we'll do a quick turnaround on that. And right over here, we have some more Amtrak locomotives. So right here, we have a P30CH in a phase 3 paint scheme here. Do a quick turnaround on that one. And then in front of that, we have an SDP40F in a phase 1 paint scheme. And we'll check out the other side of this one. And then we can move on. Then over here, we have the Ocean View Dome Car, which is another 2-level passenger car. And this one gets to be alone too, because I didn't build it on any of the trains. So that's the dome car, and we'll skip up over here to one of my favorite locomotives here. And we'll check out this Amtrak Colors GG1 electric locomotive. You see we got one pantograph up and one down. So that's the GG1 there. And you can see it's Pennsylvania Railroad one next to it. And we'll move on. Then over here we have another special Amtrak long distance charger. This one is a one-of-a-kind painted up in the so-called Day 1 paint scheme in celebration of Amtrak's 50th anniversary here. So that's the Day 1 locomotive. Then right over here, we have another electric locomotive, this time the Amtrak AEM-7. And this is another one that has a cab on each end here. Over here, we have another charger locomotive. This one is in the Amtrak Midwest color scheme. And these were the first ones they were testing when the chargers were brand new. So that's what that one looks like. And then we'll move on. And finally, we have one more Siemens charger here. This time in the full production mode, Phase 7 livery. That's going to be on all new future locomotives going forward here. And you can see it's slightly different than the last transition Phase 7 we saw earlier. So that's it for our tour of all of my Minecraft Amtrak equipment. I hope you enjoyed it here. Like I said, every single thing we've seen in this video does already have a tutorial up on the channel for it, so scroll back through the channel if you see something you want to build. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and everyone have a great week. Stay safe out there, rail fans.